Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Screen Cinema. There's something wrong with Netflix, and it's the social dilemma. So today in this video, I'm going to cover the social dilemma of Netflix. Let's get into the video. What the social dilemma is about. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of the social dilemma, it is probably best to explain what the documentary is about on a more general level. Okay, the film, which is more a documentary drama hybrid, more on that in a bit, than anything else, examines the various ways social media and social networking companies have manipulated human psychology to rewire the brain and what it means for society in general. Through a series of interviews with Silicon Valley engineers who design the technologies they now fear, along with discussions with various tech and psychology experts, The Social Dilemma offers an eye-opening look at a world that
is to use your psychology against you.
I was the co-inventor of the Facebook like button.
One of the documentary's main subjects, Tristan Harris, was called The Conscience of the Silicon Valley. A lot of what is discussed throughout The Social Dilemma comes from the work of one of the film's main subjects, Tristan Harris, a former design ethicist at Google who later helped found the Center for Humane Technology. The crew behind this documentary follows Harris around for a large section of the film while he prepares for a presentation on ways tech and social media companies can afford practices that sell their users' data to the highest bidder, as well as making their projects less addictive. When Harris was still at Google on the Google Inbox team, he sent a presentation to several of his colleagues that suggested that the big tech companies, Google included, should take the initiative and prevent a society in which everyone is buried in their phones. Tristan Harris eventually left Google to focus on creating the Center for Humane Technology to help further spread his message about tech giants respecting their users' attention, privacy, and most of all, free will. Shortly after starting his nonprofit, Harris was featured in an Atlantic profile that called him the closest thing Silicon Valley has to a conscience. And judging by the way Harris spends much of the social dilemma arguing against social media's tight grip on our psyches, they're probably right.
And I want to get serious for a moment and tell you why it's going in a very specific direction. Because it's not evolving randomly.
Be prepared to feel the urge to deactivate your social accounts. There were multiple times while watching The Social Dilemma where I wanted to get rid of all my social media accounts, turn off my phone, and throw it out the window. And while that's admittedly a little dramatic, the film will more than likely have that same effect on you. When you have tech engineers admitting that their former companies don't really have a full understanding of the artificial intelligences that they have built to run platforms like Facebook and Google, you start to feel like you're entering the Terminator or something. It's like we've opened Pandora's box, and that has been placed behind a floodgate that we can't seem to close.
Place to go, that we are forced to use this infrastructure which is contaminated. That's what the social dilemma is.
Right, so you worked for Google, and at some point...
A good mix of performers and commentators. Directed by Jeff Orlowski, The Social Dilemma unveils an impressive list of interviewees compromising prominent Silicon Valley nerds, the coders and designers behind Gmail, GChat, Google Drive, Facebook's like button, Facebook pages, largely responsible for shaping our digital lives. It features former senior executives from the major tech companies, Google, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. There are Harvard and New York University professors, the scholars who have studied drug addiction and the spread of malign narratives on social media, and the founder of virtual reality. It's a good mix of performers and commentators, people who contemplate, sometimes regret, their inventions, and those who explain the consequences of such actions. And then there's us, the documentary's audience, the social network's users, who clicked, uploaded, tagged, shared, retweeted, and favorited the lab rats who were sold for ads, the zombies who wrote their own destruction. The film's central concern of users becoming products isn't particularly new. That is how the media business has historically worked. The cost of producing an English daily, for example, far exceeds the price we pay for it, but the difference here is of extent and type. For the social media makes us pay in all the ways possible, financial, psychological, moral. Such an expense, affecting 2.7 billion users, has been unprecedented in human history. And so have been the earnings of tech giants in trillions of dollars. The Social Dilemma is preoccupied with a simple line of inquiry: how bad has it become? The answer is straightforward and terrifying. The genie is out of the bottle. Raising the stakes. The Social Dilemma does an impressive job raising the stakes, and two unsettling charts, for instance. It shows the exponential rise in suicides among teens and preteens after 2009, when social media came onto our phones. Then, fake news entered the picture, and we're still recovering from that onslaught. Fake news, a study found, spread 6 times faster than a regular piece of information. It, too, then became part of the algorithm, a data point, a bait for the jaundiced, a pitch for the advertisers. Given that the documentary is centered on technology, which can get inaccessible and boring, the filmmaker constantly hunts for our attention. So the talking heads often seg into animation, graphics, a short film even. The last bit may feel like a stretch, especially as it's filled with stereotypical characters, but by the end, it ties the documentary well. details the key concepts, and puts the human element at the center of the story.
All this shit comes to fruition.
It makes you wonder, is leaving our fate up to politicians when it comes to social media in our best interest? Number 9.
This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.